Today we are going to talk about job interview motivation, how to motivate yourself to get in the right frame of mind for a job interview, to perform at a job interview, and how to recover from the inevitable mistakes we all make on job interviews. Darren D here. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Ramblin' Recruiter, the channel that seeks to help you find the job of your dreams. If that sounds good, subscribe, click the bell, enable notifications, and you'll never miss a new video again. This video is brought to you by my Patreon community. If you'd like to become a part of the Ramblin' Recruiter revolution, visit patreon.com/ramblinrecruiter or click the link below in the description. It's always easier. So think about this scenario. It's Wednesday, about 4 p.m., and you get a phone call from XYZ recruiting firm that you've been working with to try to secure some job interviews. They say, I've got an interview for you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. at Acme Explosives. You say yes, and you start preparing for that interview at Acme Explosives. But you don't really know too much about them, and frankly, this is the 7th interview you've been on, so how are you supposed to get motivated when so much can go wrong? You might be late, the hiring manager might be late, you might get lost, you might get in a car accident, you might get pulled over by a police officer on your way there, you might get a flat tire. Maybe when you get there, they don't know who the heck you are or what job you're interviewing for. Maybe they've never seen your resume before. Maybe the recruiter screwed up and sent you on the wrong day and the wrong time. Maybe the hiring manager reminds you of your crazy ex and you totally draw a blank when you get asked the simplest of questions. Maybe you forgot a pen or a piece of paper. Maybe you forgot copies of your resume. Murphy's Law states that whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So how do you maintain motivation? Going into a job interview in the right frame of mind is absolutely critically important. In fact, I would venture that the most important thing you can do is to get your mind right before you go into an interview. How are you to do that? How do you get your mind right? The first thing I would recommend is putting in the necessary time to do the research, the prep work, and getting yourself ready. There's so much about job interviews that we can't actually control, but there are a few things that we can. We can control whether or not we get there on time. We can control whether or not we're adequately dressed professionally. We can control whether or not we've brought everything that we should bring with us, and we could control how we feel about ourselves when we go into that interview. So make sure your interview clothes, whether that be a suit or a dress, a skirt, a top and blouse, whatever the case may be, is prepped, cleaned, and ready to go in advance. Keep it in the plastic on a hanger in your closet so that the day before you're not scrambling to find a 1-hour dry cleaner. Make sure you've got copies of your resume on good paper, ready to go, a pen, a notepad, and the directions to get there or a GPS. Now, if you think it's going to take you 30 minutes to get to this job interview, make sure you leave yourself an extra 30 minutes. Murphy's Law says that you will only run into traffic when you are in a hurry to get somewhere. So by controlling what you can control, you'll feel much better, more at ease, and less stressed than you would otherwise. But there's more to it than that. Preparing your mind is an absolutely critical aspect of interview preparation. Now, however it is that you like to get pumped up and motivated, whether that's to do some cardio kickboxing, or maybe that's listening to some heavy metal music, or maybe you like to do some yoga, or maybe just 30 minutes of quiet meditation and reflection. However you get prepped and ready and pumped up, make sure you put in the time to do that. It's going to put you in a much better frame of mind. I'll share a story with you from my own experiences. Back in 2007, I was on my 3rd and final interview at Michael Page International, a global international executive search firm with operations all over the place in many different offices. They're a multi-billion-dollar company, and I was pretty excited to have the opportunity to interview with them. So it's my 3rd and final interview. I'm pretty miffed that I have to come back a 3rd time, but okay, I'll do it because I want this job. And I was introduced to a fellow named Lawrence Pengelly, a smug, unhappy British chap who spent the next hour and a half or so taking great delight in grilling me on every conceivable sales objection there was, openly making fun of me. He actually asked how could I possibly be an Army veteran being as short as I am. Now, because I already had some recruiting experience, I was smart enough to know that this was actually just a test. He was trying to see if he could rattle me. If I hadn't gone into that interview in the proper frame of mind, calm, cool, collected, and confident, I probably would have lost my temper. And I can tell you, quite frankly, 2 years of working underneath this gentleman, he was my boss's boss. At any time, I would have gleefully punched him right in the mouth. Workplace violence aside, getting your mind right for an interview can go so far to keeping you motivated and ready to perform. But how do you recover from a mistake? We've all had situations on interviews where we wish we had that question back. You just thought of a much better answer to that question, or maybe as you're driving away you think of a better answer, or you give an answer and in the moment you know, that just didn't come across well. There's a couple of different things you can do. Airplanes now. Do you ever get the feeling that the entire world is conspiring against you? At the end of most interviews, the interviewer will give you the opportunity to ask him or her questions. Now, if you can keep it together in your head by going into the interview calm, cool, and collected, you can say, yes, I've got some questions for you, but before I ask, I'd actually like to go back to your question on XYZ, because throughout the interview, I've had a chance to think about it, and I want to add this, and that to my answer. That's a good way to go about it. But a lot of times these things don't come together in our heads in the moment. It's usually not until we're leaving or already home and reflecting on the interview that it will occur to you that I could have answered that better. If that's the case, use your thank you note, which you're going to send by email that day, to correct yourself. It is possible to recover from a mistake as long as you don't go to pieces when it happens. So we've talked about getting our mind right for an interview. We've talked a little bit about how to recover from a mistake in the moment. Now let's talk for just a second about how to stay motivated during the job of job searching. Look, job searching is a job in and of itself. You should easily be putting in 30 to 40 hours a week if you are spending a full-time amount of time looking for a job. It's not easy. I know what you're thinking, 30 to 40 hours a week, that's crazy. I know it may sound crazy, but when you think about all the different tasks and activities that go into a job search, I'm not just talking about sending resumes to positions you see on Indeed.com. I'm talking about making new connections on LinkedIn, networking your way into companies, asking people to meet with you for lunch, for coffee, or during COVID for a quick FaceTime or Zoom call just to get better acquainted. Making new connections and networking takes time. Sending out resumes takes time, especially if you're tailoring them to each individual job opportunity that you're sending them out to, which is why I strongly recommend you use a service like resume.io so that each and every resume you send out is a great template, perfectly tailored for each individual opportunity. Putting in 30 to 40 hours a week on a job search when you're unemployed is difficult. I know this. You are going to be frustrated, you are going to feel defeated, and you are going to feel yourself literally deflating. Many people attach their sense of self-worth to their job. This is a mistake. You're not your job. Your self-worth as a human being is not tied to your job, and it's not tied to your income, although it does sometimes feel that way. My advice to stay motivated through the job search is get some exercise, take care of yourself. Good food, good sleep, good hydration, good medical attention when you need it, and take breaks throughout the day. Don't sit there for 12 hours straight. And when you feel like too many things have gone wrong all at once and it's all stacking up on you and it's really starting to overwhelm you, put the job search aside for 24 to 48 hours and go do something for you. Do that and your motivation will stay up. You will find that job of your dreams. During this current pandemic we're all facing, most interviews are taking place over video. So do this. Click and watch either of the two videos on screen right now. They will help you master video interviewing so that you can crush those first rounds and get moved on to the finals. Enjoy the rest of your job seeking day. Stay classy, YouTube. I'll see you next time. Peace!